I never thought I'd be one of those guys who'd catch his wife cheating, but here I am, sitting in my apartment, trying to piece everything together after what I saw. Jane and I had been together for about 5 years, long enough that I thought I knew her inside out. She's always been a bit of a bitch, honestly, sharp-tongued, quick to dismiss things that don't suit her, and she's got this way of acting like she's better than everyone else. But she's also gorgeous, charming when she wants to be, and yeah, I guess I was blinded by that for a while. Lately, though, things had been off. She'd come home late more often, sometimes excuse herself with some bullshit about needing to clear her head or work stuff. She started ignoring my texts, giving me these half-hearted responses, and I caught her in little lies more than once. I'd find her hiding her phone or deleting messages, stuff she thought I wouldn't notice. But I did. I always do. One night, I was just fiddling around with my visual memory storage, something I'd gotten into after the government launched that project to preserve all sorts of memories, even the ones people tried to erase. It's like a backup for your brain, a way to keep a record of moments you want to remember or hide. I've been downloading some personal files just for fun, testing out the system. I'd always been curious about what I'd forgotten or what someone else might have tried to erase from my mind. That night, I stumbled on something weird, an unauthorized access to my visual memory storage. Someone had gone into my memories and pulled out a specific set of images. At first, I thought it was a glitch, but then I saw the video. There she was, Jane. She was with this guy, Dr. Carter. He's the retinal memory download specialist I'd heard about, the guy who helps you retrieve memories you think you've lost or want to hide. But I'd never suspected that Jane, my wife, was actually seeing him, especially not like that. The footage was clear, her in the kitchen, whispering, then him leaning in, touching her face in a way that wasn't just friendly. They kissed, and then, well, the scene suggested more than just an affair of the lips. It was raw, real, and it had been happening while I was out working late. Or at some business dinner she'd claimed was just that. I couldn't believe my eyes. I replayed the scene over and over, trying to deny what I was seeing, but the evidence was unambiguous. The worst part, this wasn't just some one-night stand. It looked like they'd been doing this for weeks. I'd been so blind, so wrapped up in her lies that I never saw the signs. And what's worse, I'd had my suspicions, sure, but I kept convincing myself I was overreacting, that I was paranoid. But this was outright betrayal. She's been lying, cheating, and probably laughing behind my back all this time. All those late nights, the missed calls, the unexplained absences, it all makes sense now. I remember feeling this cold numbness spread through my chest. My stomach twisted. I couldn't believe it. My wife, my partner, the woman I trusted, she was with someone else, and she was doing it in a way that I'd only ever seen in movies or read about in stories. And I had the proof now, stored safely in my memory backup, which she probably thought I'd never find. She thought she was so clever, so untouchable. But I found her out, and it's changed everything. The shock didn't hit me all at once. It came in waves, crashing over me like a storm I wasn't prepared for. I felt a mixture of rage, betrayal, and this sick sense of loss that I couldn't shake. The images from my memory storage replayed in my head, her lips on him, her hands clutching his shirt, the way her voice sounded when she was whispering secrets in his ear. I kept asking myself, how could I have missed this? How had I failed to see the signs? I remember sitting on the couch, staring at the screen, my hands trembling. My mind was racing. Was I just blind? Did I want to be blind? I had always known Jane was a bitch. She had a sharp tongue, an attitude that could cut glass. But I never thought she'd cheat on me. Not like this. Not so blatantly. And I definitely never imagined she'd do it with someone like Carter, the guy who's been helping her access her memories, a man I once considered just a professional, nothing more. Now he was a symbol of my ruin. I couldn't keep this to myself. I had to confront her. I didn't want to believe that she'd just lie her way out of it. But I also knew Jane. She's good at lying, and she's even better at making herself the victim. So I waited, trying to plan what I'd say, what I'd ask, how I'd get her to admit the truth. I needed to hear it from her face to face. The next day I came home earlier than usual. I wanted to catch her in the act, or at least force her to lie to my face. I found her in the kitchen, pouring herself a glass of wine, acting casual as if she hadn't done anything wrong. Her eyes flicked to me and I saw that little flicker of guilt, or maybe just her acting guilty. So, I started, voice low and tense, "Who's Carter?" She froze, that fake smile slipping right off her face. "What are you talking about?" "Don't pretend, Jane, I know everything. I saw the footage. I know you've been seeing him and your little sessions with the retinal memory download. You've been hiding it from me. Were you planning to tell me? Or was this just another secret you kept?" She rolled her eyes, taking a sip of her wine. "Oh, please, you're overreacting. That's just some technical stuff. It's not like I cheated on you. I was just working with him. It's complicated, okay?" I clenched my fists. "Complicated? Do you even hear yourself? You're sleeping with a guy who helps you steal memories and you call it just working. What the hell is wrong with you, Jane? How could you do this to me?" She shrugged, trying to act indifferent. "You're making a big deal out of nothing. Carter's just a professional. He helps me access parts of my memory I can't reach on my own. It's not like I'm having sex with him. Well, maybe I am, but it's not your business." That was when I saw her smirk, like she was trying to make everything into some stupid joke. That's when I realized she was enjoying the chaos she was causing. She's always been good at turning things around, at making herself the victim in her own twisted way. I wanted to scream, but I held back. I felt the coldness inside me grow stronger, and I knew I had to decide what to do next. I looked at her and saw the woman I'd once loved, now just a stranger, a woman who'd betrayed not only my trust but also my entire sense of reality. I didn't know how I was going to move past this, but I knew the truth now, and that was enough to set everything in motion. The confrontation left me spinning. I couldn't believe she was still lying to my face, acting like she hadn't just thrown our entire life together into the trash. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of betrayal. Every word she said, every fake smile and dismissive shrug just made me angrier. I'd always been the person who tried to see the good, to give her a chance to explain herself, but now I just felt numb. All I could think about was how she'd been sneaking around behind my back with Carter, the guy who's supposed to help us recover memories. Yet somehow, he'd been the one erasing parts of my past that I'd wanted to hold on to. That night I stayed up obsessively scrolling through the footage I'd found in my memory storage. I replayed the moments, each more vivid and disturbing than the last. The more I looked at her, smiling, whispering, touching him, the more I realized how deep her lies ran. She'd been lying to me about everything, even the simplest things like where she'd been or who she'd been talking to. Her dismissiveness, her bitchy attitude when I pressed her, all told me she didn't really care about our marriage anymore. She was just stringing me along until she got bored or found someone else to manipulate. I also started digging into Carter's background. I wanted to understand what kind of man he was, how he managed to help her access these memories and erase what she didn't want me to see. That's when I discovered the truth. Carter was not just some technician. He was a specialist, yes, but also someone with a reputation for bending the rules, for helping people hide things they didn't want others to know. I guess that's why Jane trusted him. He was a perfect accomplice in her little game. The fact that she'd gone behind my back with him was even worse than I'd thought. It wasn't just infidelity. It was an invasion of my very mind, my memories, my identity. I felt this urgent need to act. I couldn't let her keep doing this, keep erasing parts of my life like they didn't matter. I didn't want her to control what I remembered, what I knew about us. Something inside me snapped, and I started devising a plan. I'd already seen enough to know that confronting her directly wasn't going to work. She'd just lie her way out of it, twist everything so she looked like the victim. I had to do something more calculated, more ruthless. I decided I'd set a trap. I knew Carter's system well enough now, how he accessed those memories, how he deleted or concealed them. I was going to use his own tools against him. I'd create a false memory, one that would expose her lies, and then I'd catch her in the act once and for all. I'd find a way to make her admit everything, to show her I wasn't some naive fool anymore. This was war, and I was ready to fight dirty. After all, she'd already crossed every line, betrayed me, lied to my face, and stolen pieces of my mind. There was no turning back now. I had to take control, even if it meant destroying her in the process. The plan took shape quickly in my mind. I knew Carter's system, how it accessed memories, how he could erase or conceal things, and most importantly, how he might be vulnerable if I played my cards right. I started digging into the technical side, learning every possible flaw in his software, every way I could trick the system into revealing what she'd been hiding. I didn't trust her anymore, and I wasn't going to rely on her word or her lies. This had to be airtight. I managed to get my hands on a copy of Carter's proprietary software, thanks to some contacts I'd made in the tech world, and I began to craft a fake memory. Something that would look authentic enough, something only Carter could access but which I would control entirely. I created a scenario, something personal, something she'd want to hide, then embedded false evidence of her affair with Carter. I knew if I could plan it just right, she'd have no choice but to react, to reveal her true feelings, or at least expose herself trying to cover it up. The night I executed the plan, I waited until she was out of the house. I set everything up remotely using a secure connection I'd established earlier. I launched the fake memory into her system, then waited. I knew she'd check her memories soon enough, and when she did, I wanted to be ready. Sure enough, within hours, I saw her react. She stormed back into the house, her face pale, eyes wild. She threw her phone on the table, furious. "What the hell is this? This is bullshit," she spat, trying to delete the file, but I'd already anticipated that move. I had it recorded, every keystroke, every attempt she made to hide her tracks. That was the moment I knew I'd caught her in her own web. She started to panic, her voice trembling with anger and guilt. "You don't understand. Carter's just helping me. He's only doing what I asked. You're making this into something it's not." The lies spilled out fast and thick as if she'd rehearsed them, but I wasn't buying it anymore. I stood there silent, watching her melt down, realizing that I had all the leverage now. The truth was out, she'd been caught, and she knew it. That confrontation was the beginning of the end. I saw her desperation, the way she tried to cling to her lies, but it was obvious she was unraveling. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and deep sadness. I'd always wanted to believe in us, to think she was just a complicated woman with her own reasons. But now I knew the real story. She'd been using me, manipulating our memories, hiding her true self behind a wall of lies. And I was done being the fool. After she saw the fake memory and realized I had the proof, Jane's bitchy facade cracked completely. She started yelling, cursing, calling me paranoid and crazy, trying to spin things her way. But I wasn't falling for her usual tactics anymore. I just stood there, watching her unravel, feeling a strange mix of relief and fury. The woman I'd once loved, or at least thought I loved, was gone. She was just a liar and a manipulator, a woman who thought she could erase what she wanted from my mind and get away with it. I told her straight up, "You've been playing with my memories, with my trust. You've been cheating with Carter, lying about everything, and hiding things I deserve to see. I don't know if I can forgive this, Jane. Honestly, I don't even want to try. You crossed a line I never thought you would." Her eyes shot daggers at me, but I saw the panic behind her glare. She knew I'd caught her, and she knew it was over. That night I packed her bags. I told her she needed to leave immediately. I realized I couldn't stay with someone who'd betray me like this, who'd manipulate my mind and lie to my face so effortlessly. I even told her the part where I'd used Carter's system to insert that false memory, just to see how she'd react. Her face twisted in rage, but she knew I'd done it, and that made her even more desperate. The aftermath was a mess. She refused to leave without a fight, trying to guilt-trip me, crying, accusing me of being paranoid, saying I was ruined and crazy. But I didn't care. I'd seen the truth, and I'd made my decision. She was out. I finally felt like I could breathe again, even if the betrayal left a scar that wouldn't fade overnight. Over the next few days, I started disassembling everything, her access to my memories, my home, even her keys. I wanted to cut her out completely. It wasn't just about the betrayal, it was about reclaiming what was mine, my mind, my memories, my life. The system I'd used to catch her was complicated, but I secured it, making sure she couldn't access any of my information again. I also started to rebuild my sense of trust, piece by piece, with the help of friends and new boundaries I'd set for myself. Looking back now, I realize how fragile everything was, how easily someone can manipulate your perception, erase parts of your history, and leave you doubting everything you once believed. I learned that betrayal cuts deep, especially when it involves your memories, your sense of reality. But I also learned that sometimes, the only way to heal is to confront the truth head-on. I don't know if I'll ever fully forgive Jane, but I do know that I'm finally in control again. And that's what matters most. Now that everything's settled, I find myself thinking a lot about what I've learned through all this mess. Trust isn't just about believing someone's words. It's about the unseen, the memories, the honesty buried deep inside. Jane thought she could manipulate my mind, erase what she didn't want me to remember and get away with it. But I proved her wrong. The system I had, the memories I stored, they saved me. They became my anchor when everything else was crumbling. I realized I was naive in a lot of ways. I thought I could fix things, that love was enough to smooth over her lies. But betrayal, especially one so deeply rooted in manipulating your sense of reality, doesn't just go away. It stays there like a scar you carry forever. Still, I'm grateful I found the strength to see things clearly, to take back control. That's what this experience has taught me, how fragile trust really is and how dangerous lies can become when they go unnoticed for too long. Moving forward, I know I'll be more cautious. I won't just take things at face value anymore. I'll protect my memories, my mind, perhaps more than I ever thought I needed to. I've learned that sometimes you need to do whatever it takes to expose the truth, even if it means going behind the scenes, using technology, or digging into things most people wouldn't understand. The betrayal was brutal, but it also awoke something in me, a need to guard what's mine, to never let anyone control or erase my past again. I can't say I've fully moved on, but I'm trying. I've started seeing a counselor, someone who understands the mind and trauma, and I'm slowly rebuilding my sense of self. I still get angry sometimes, especially when I think about how easily I was fooled, how she played me like a puppet. But I also know I'm stronger than I thought. I've stared into the abyss of betrayal, and I've come out still standing, with a clearer picture of what I want and what I won't accept. One thing's for sure, I'll never forget what this has shown me about the depth of human deception, about the importance of safeguarding your inner self. Memories, real memories, are everything. They define who we are, and I refuse to let anyone take that away from me again. I may be scarred, but I'm free. Free to rebuild, to learn, and to trust again on my own terms.